Hello, everyone. We have made it to the end of the year, and that means a whole bunch of lists come out. I know a lot of movie reviewers and stuff on YouTube get their lists for like the top 10 best of the year and stuff today, by like the end of today, because it's the end of the year. Personally, I can't necessarily do that. I don't get screeners and stuff like that. My goal every year is try to watch 100 movies. I have seen 102 movies, but there are some more movies that literally just hit theaters like 3 days ago that I would like to try to see, and I haven't had a chance to see them yet. So I kind of tend to push that back until I know that I've seen enough movies that I can do it. So I tend to wait till the first week of January for that to kind of start lists. And so this is a video where I'm going to be talking about just movies that in 2024 surprised me. I'm not saying any of these movies are on my top 10 of the year. I'm not even saying any of these movies are necessarily the best movies of the year. I'm just saying these movies surprised me for whatever form or reason that I will explain and talk about. Um, so yeah, this isn't a top 10 per se. This is just me talking about that how these movies surprised me. They can be movies that I just didn't expect to be as good as they were, or they can just be movies that I had no thoughts about and then I saw them and holy cow. So yeah, here we go. We're going to talk about some movies that just surprised me in 2024. This is no particular order, just a list of movies that I saw this year that really surprised me. Starting with number one, A Real Pain. Jesse Eisenberg has been an actor that I have never really loved. I found him kind of annoying, if I'd be perfectly honest. I did not like him as Lex Luthor in Batman vs. Superman. I didn't love The Social Network the way the rest of the world seems to love that movie. Zombieland is good. Um, but I just some of the other movies he's done, I can't stand him. I don't like his voice. I don't like his mannerisms. I just don't like Jesse Eisenberg. I don't know what it is. Um, and I know he made a movie last year that I heard was just absolutely terrible. I completely avoided it for that reason. He directed it and wrote it, I guess. I just completely avoided it because I knew I wasn't going to like it because I don't like Jesse Eisenberg. This movie though that he wrote and directed. Good golly, again, I'm a little sick still. Um, it's great. I love this movie so much. Um, I did not think I would like this movie at all, and I really, really liked it. It is a movie that is a dramedy, and it does have some great drama moments. It has some great comedy moments. The direction in this is actually really good. Jesse Eisenberg's character doesn't annoy me in this movie for some odd reason. I can't explain to you why, but he doesn't. And Kieran Culkin in this is absolutely great. So this was just a movie that I was not expecting to like because I don't like Jesse Eisenberg. And in the end, I actually really liked this movie. So, and that's not the first time, or not the only time in this list that that will happen, and we will talk about that a little later on. So, A Real Pain. If you've not checked out Real Pain, I believe it's still in some theaters. Go check it out. Next movie is Dune Part Two. Now, I know what you're thinking. Holy crap! How can you say that that movie was surprising? I did not love the first Dune. I thought it was good. Don't get me wrong; it looked great technically, but it wasn't a movie I wanted to rewatch. In fact, I didn't watch it for a second time until this year, seeing it in IMAX. When I first saw it, I was back in Wisconsin. I just saw it in a regular theater. Did not watch it on Max though, like some people did. By the way, this is a Starbucks drink. My dog got overly excited and it cracked the plastic cup, so I'm drinking it out of a regular cup. It was a caramel apple oat milk something or another. I had rewards, so I had to use it. So yeah, wasn't I, I liked Dune Part One. I just didn't think it was all that crazy and exciting. Dune Part Two though is phenomenal. Not only is it a great technical film, but like everything just worked so much better for me in this movie. I feel like there's more of a story. It's less politically crap. It's more kind of action based. It has we have Zendaya actually in this one. The last one did not have Zendaya, and I think the chemistry between Zendaya and Timothy Chalamet really works. And I think her character being involved just really adds to the story overall. We have more Javier Bardem in this movie, which I think his character just I think there's better characters in this than the first one. The first one I just didn't personally love. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad movie. Um I just it wasn't in my top 10, whereas Dune Part 2 is so much more than that. And I just think it is such an amazing achievement in film, and I love it so much. It is so much better than the first. So yeah, I was surprised by this one because I didn't love the first part. So that is Dune Part Two. I know people don't like that. I didn't love the first one. The next movie is Thelma. I had no clue about this movie at all. Um, I think I just saw the poster. I didn't watch the trailer for this or anything, and I went into it and oh my god, this movie is great. It is an action movie starring a 90-year-old lady. It's absolutely wonderful. It was funny. It had heart. It does feel like an action movie, while at the end of the day, there's not, she's not running like Tom Cruise would. In fact, they show, I think it's Mission Impossible Fallout, they show in this actual movie. Um, and it's somewhat inspired by a true story in the sense that this grandma really was scammed out of money. So I just thought that was absolutely hilarious. I didn't think that this movie was going to be so great, and I just was laughing the entire time. I felt so much heart, um, and it just has the beats of an action movie, and it is intense at times, even though it's kind of ridiculous, but it is so much fun. It's one of the best comedies of the year, and it just also has so much heart to it. And June Squibb was just phenomenal in this movie. Um, so yeah, if you have not seen Thelma, I don't know. I thought it was streaming on something on Hulu. It's on Hulu. It's great. Watch Thelma. It's so good. Next up, a movie that I talked about recently, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I did not like Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, I'm not gonna say I didn't like it. I thought Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2 were just fine. They were fine kids movies that adults could watch and not hate themselves. This third one though is just legit fun, really good. You get double the Jim Carrey in it. You feel like you can just tell that the director, Jeff Folger, I want to say his name is just going, Jim, do your thing. And then he's playing the other guy again, Jim, do your thing. We'll write a movie around this essentially. And it's just so great. What are you doing over there, Chester? I never know what my dog's doing. Anyways, I just think it's so great. It is a lot of fun. Keanu Reeves as Shadow seems like he's having the time of his life. Um, it focuses less on stupid, dumb humans, something that Transformer movies need to figure out, and focuses on the robots. Well, they did figure it out this year, actually, so I shouldn't say that. But yeah, it focuses more on the hedgehogs, and it's just so much better. And I really did enjoy this movie. It's a lot of fun. So Sonic 3, that is my next one. Next up is Inside Out 2. I did not love Inside Out 1. It is still a really good movie, don't get me wrong. It just wasn't in my top 10 of the year in 2015. Um, I don't think this movie will be in my top 10 of the year either for 2024, but I did have a lot of fun with it, and I wasn't expecting much with it. Um, just because I don't know, Bill Hader gone, some of the voice cast is gone, um, and I don't know, I just wasn't too excited about it. And I did see a trailer for this one. I just didn't think it was going to be anything spectacular. In the end, it's actually really good. I love how they use anxiety in this movie. I love some of the places that they go. I love that we focus on Riley more in high school. Um, and it once again, similar to the first one, it's a good way to talk about emotion and talk about your feelings and try to understand what's going on in your head. Um, and it's one of those movies that adults and kids can watch. And I don't know, I just didn't think it was going to be as good as the first. I think Pixar has been not exactly doing the greatest lately, and I think it is slightly back on form. It's a sequel, unfortunately. I wish they would do more original things. But it's still that level that Pixar should be at, and it was still enjoyable. I still don't think it's necessarily as good as the first, but it's on par with the first, and yeah, it was an enjoyable time. I'm glad I saw it. So yeah, Inside Out 2 was a little bit of a surprise for me. This next one, I literally knew nothing about this movie. I just saw that it was playing at my movie theater, um, and I looked at Metacritic on IMDb. That is it. That is all I knew about this movie. And the movie starts, and it says part 3. And I went, oh boy, nonlinear telling storytelling. I don't like that a lot of times in movies. I just kind of feel like it's lazy at times. Um, Boy, did I judge this movie wrong way too quickly because this movie is so fascinating. It it starts at like part three, I want to say, out of five, and it goes from there. This movie is insane. It's insanely beautiful. It is so original and so surprising and so lose your expectations at the door because it's not going to be what you expect. That I can't talk enough about this movie. This movie is so flippin' awesome. I wanted to like fly to New York or to Chicago to go see this in 35 millimeter. That's how much I was like so shocked by this movie because it is just so crazy what happens in Strange Darling. So absolutely see Strange Darling if you haven't. Next up, The Substance. This was a movie that it wasn't on my radar necessarily. It just kind of popped out of nowhere for me. Um, and I should have not been so surprised by this one just because it is the director of Revenge, and I did like that movie. Um, and it is a body horror movie dealing with political kind of related things on how Hollywood acts and such like that. So I wasn't like super duper excited by it, but holy cow, this movie is crazy. It's funny. It does have great political messages, but it's not like all in your face. It's showing it in a way. Um, and it did make me want to just change my life up a bit and not think the way that I think. And I think it has helped change the way I think sometimes. Um, it's just a crazy movie, and it's a weird body horror movie that I wasn't expecting. And because of that, it is just one of my most surprising movies of the year. That I just wasn't expecting it, and I was just so pleasantly surprised by it that I had to talk about it. Next up is Terrifier 3. Um, I thought Terrifier 1 is fine for how low of a budget it had. Holy crap! Terrifier 2 was way too long, but still better as a good movie. And then Terrifier 3 for me was just so much freaking fun. I think this is the best, one of the best. Again, we've had some great comedy this year that isn't actually comedy. I'll get you food in a little bit, Chester. Okay, I'll get you food in a little bit. I think Chester's hungry. He wants some food. Anyways, this movie is hilarious, and the bathroom scene. That's all I'm gonna say. When Art is doing Angels, I just was dying of laughter. The Santa Claus scene. I just thought this movie was so hilarious. And yes, it is overly gory and it's over the top and ridiculous, but that's part of the reason why I freaking loved it. And I did not think that I was going to love it as much as I did. And oh, it's just great. Um, Next up is Twisters. Um, the first Twister was a 90s movie that, was a 90s movie. Um, and when they said they were making a sequel to it with not really connecting it, it's just kind of like a reboot essentially. I wasn't too excited for it. The cast didn't have me overly excited. The director was the director of Minari, so I guess I maybe should have saw it coming because Minari was a great movie from the pandemic in 2020. Um, but yeah, I wasn't overly excited by this one. And it turned out to be fun. It's not an amazing movie by any means, but it's not a bad movie. It is a fun movie. The logic in it is a little ridiculous, but I did have fun with it. I also took how old is he? He's 11-year-old cousin to this movie, and he had fun with it. He paid attention the entire time. He wasn't a turd about it. He didn't, make a big fluster of it. He had fun with it. So that shows you something right there too. Next up, Bad Boys, Ride or Die. Do not like the first Bad Boys. Do not like the second Bad Boys. The third Bad Boys was actually pretty good. This one's not as good as the third one, in my opinion. Um, well, actually, I would say it's about level. The third Bad Boys, the thing that drove me nuts is this weird twist of bastard child thing that happens. And this movie continues on with that, but it doesn't bring it up, I guess, quite as much, essentially. Chester is literally right here. There he is. Say hi, Chester. Hi, bud. Hi, buddy. So yeah, it did a little bit more for me. The flipping scenes with the brother-in-law or the son-in-law, Chester's like really making a cameo. Hi. Oh, Chester, you knocked over the camera. Okay. Hi, Chester. Yep. Okay, bud. Here, you want to come on my lap? You want to come on my lap? Okay. Yeah, the scene with the brother-in-law with in the house, great scene. You're just looking at my dog's butt now. Oh, okay, Chester, can you get away from the camera? Come here, come here, come here, come here. Here we go. Oh, Chester Cheeto, just sit. No, that's mine. Oh, this is interesting. Anyways, the scene with the brother-in-law was probably the best scene in the movie. There's some interesting camera shots at the end. Are things a little ridiculous? Yes, but it's also based. It's the fourth movie in a franchise that was started by Michael Bay, so it shouldn't have been that surprising. Um, so yeah, the Bad Boys Ride or Die. I had fun with it. I laughed quite a bit. There's some ridiculous things, but it was enjoyable enough. And it gave you the cameo of my dog's ass, so that's nice. Next up is Arthur the King. This movie had trailers up the wazoo before movies, and I just could not escape the trailer. And it looked generic and terrible, if I'm being perfectly honest. And at the end, I was kind of surprised by how much I actually liked it. It was heartfelt. Um, it's no award-winning movie, but it was a lot better than it was showing in the trailers. And if you haven't given this movie a chance, you like dogs, this is a movie to check out. Even though it's not the greatest movie of the in the world, it just again it surprised me because that's what this list is, just movies that surprised me. I did not think were going to be as good as they were. Next up is Babes. I am a single dude who has no interest in having family, getting married, or anything like that. This movie is about a woman who's going through pregnancy with her other friend who with her best friend who has two kids and has a family and is married. So this is just didn't seem like it was for me. But this movie is so good and so funny. It is Bridesmaids meets pregnancy is really what it was. I remember in 2011, I was like, I do not want to see a movie about women getting ready for a wedding. That's over the top and ridiculous. But oh my god, is Bridesmaids hilarious. It's one of the greatest comedies of all time, in my opinion. Babes might be up there as well. The first scene of this movie is so flippin' hilarious. I think this one's streaming now somewhere too. I think it's on Hulu. If you have not checked out Babes, watch it. In fact, I want to watch it again now, just talking about it because it is so funny, and it so does work, and it is a beautiful story about friendship at the end of the day. And I just like movies with friendship. So next up is Fly Me to the Moon. This movie got a lot of hate for some reason. I don't know why. I saw this at a Mystery Regal Movie Monday thing, and I thought, you know what, this was enjoyable. It's a romantic comedy of sorts. Is it cheesy at times? Yeah, but that's romantic comedies for you. And it does deal with the fake filming of the moon landing. That is interesting. Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson are great in this. Um, I don't understand why people didn't like this one. I wasn't expecting anything from it, and I actually really thoroughly enjoyed it. Um, I, I thought it was a lot of fun. I laughed quite a bit. I thought the romance worked. Woody Harrelson is great in this movie. I just don't understand why people aren't liking this one more. And it just got a lot of hate. So I personally, I just wanted to bring that one up because while I was surprised by it, I was surprised by how much people hated on it. Next up is Alien Romulus. Alien Romulus, Romulus. So I wasn't overly excited about this one just because the last few Alien movies haven't been the greatest, and this franchise feels like it almost just needs to just die or completely reboot. Ridley Scott tried doing prequels and that didn't work. Um, we've had so many sequels that it's just like we need to let it rest. And then they announced that this is going to take place between Alien and Aliens, and I was like, really, we just need to let the main universe kind of die. This movie actually really worked. There is some CGI elements that maybe don't necessarily work the best. I kind of chose to let it go because of the certain situation and such like that. There are some lines that are just a little too desperate, I think, and are definitely just calling back to the originals. But this had some great horror elements to it. I it had some really great characters. Um, the two main characters, I forget the names of the people. We have this up right here. Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson. Both of them are great. Their chemistry is great. Their little storyline between brother and sister, even though he's a robot, just it really did. It was great. Um, and I was just so surprised that this is like my third favorite Aliens movie. I was not expecting that to be the case. And I believe they were going to put this straight to streaming, which is nuts to me. I'm so glad they didn't. I need to trust Fede Alvarez more because he is just a great director. Even though I didn't love his Evil Dead, I love Don't Breathe, and so I just should have trusted Fede Alvarez more. And my last one that we were going to talk about in this 20-minute video is Wicked. Now, I know nothing. I knew nothing about the musical. I knew it existed, but I had never seen it. I had never heard Defying Gravity or anything. Watching the trailers, I thought it looked like too much CGI. I do not like Cynthia Erivo or Ariana Grande. I just have found them very annoying in interviews, especially during this press tour. They're, oh my god, thank you. It just, they drive me nuts. Particularly Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande just really gets on my nerves. After watching this movie, she's supposed to get on your nerves. She's kind of the bad guy in the movie, so it worked. Cynthia Erivo, she does do really good. She sounds great. It worked for me. There are some spotty special effects sequences. In the year that we got Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which honestly probably should be on this list, I was surprised that that movie wasn't worse than what it was. I still didn't love that movie, but Dawn of the Planet, or the right, what is it? I don't even remember what it's called. That Planet of the Apes movie that we got this year was actually better than I thought it was going to be. This is similar. This is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And yeah, there were some iffy special effects, but the production design looked great. The cinematography was great. The costume design, very colorful film. It really was great. I really do need to go back and just see this a second time in theaters. I think I watched this on Thanksgiving, and there was quite a few women in the theater that clearly loved the musical. And every time anything would happen, they started clapping and just and I completely understand. As someone who went and saw Avengers Endgame 18 times, and every time Tony Stark said, I am Iron Man, I was just like, and every time Thor or Cap gets Mjolnir, I was just like, So I get it. I think I just need to go back, see it with fresh eyes, and try to love it more because everyone seems to be loving this movie. Everyone's talking about this movie for awards. I don't see any of the awards talk. I don't think anyone should be nominated for acting in this movie. I could see production design. I can see sound, costume, but I cannot see acting. I do not see best picture for this. Directing, for sure. John M. Chu does a great job with the direction. I just didn't think this movie was that great. It's good. Don't get me wrong. The songs are good. I just wasn't in love with this movie like everyone seems to be. And usually when that happens, I just need to go back to watch it a second time to really figure out if I'm losing my mind or if it's not for me. So you could maybe see me talking about this in spoilers very soon, just its own review again. Maybe I'll change my mind. But until then, those are some movies that did surprise me this year. How many were there? There was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 movies I decided to talk about. All movies that just kind of surprised me in one way or another. And yeah, I was surprised by these movies, especially in a year that I think was a little bit lackluster. This year had a lot of movies that were just like, yeah, it's good. It's fine. So yeah, are there any movies that surprised you this year? I will have a list up later today with movies that were completely disappointing and just not what they should have been, in my opinion. So you will see that list up later today. I apologize for showing you my dog's ass. Chester's a turd, but we love him. Anyways, guys, I hope you have yourself a great day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and hey, I'll see you next time.